Hello, everyone. Welcome to Celsius 233, your go-to place for fiction book summaries. Today, we will immerse ourselves in Middlemarch by George Eliot. Middlemarch, authored by George Eliot, the pen name of Mary Ann Evans, is a profound exploration of provincial life in 19th century England. Set in the fictional town of Middlemarch, the novel delves into the intricacies of social, political, and personal dynamics among a diverse cast of characters. Eliot, renowned for her keen insight into human nature, weaves a narrative that scrutinizes the aspirations, moral dilemmas, and societal expectations of her characters. Plot summary: Dorothea Brooke yearns for a life of purpose, one that transcends the conventional expectations placed upon women of her time. Living with her sister Celia and their uncle Mr. Brooke in the countryside near Middlemarch, Dorothea dreams of finding an intellectual and spiritual partner. Her piety and idealism lead her to believe that her life should be more than just attending social gatherings and managing a household. Her aspirations drive her to marry Edward Casaubon, an elderly scholar who is deeply engrossed in his work on religious history. Dorothea imagines that by joining him in his scholarly pursuits, she will find the meaningful life she craves. Casaubon, however, proves to be a disappointment. Far from the profound thinker she envisioned, he is cold, self-centered, and obsessed with the fear that his life's work will amount to nothing. He stifles Dorothea's spirit and intellect, treating her more like an assistant than a partner. Their marriage becomes a prison for Dorothea, who had hoped for intellectual companionship, but instead finds herself trapped in a life devoid of warmth or purpose. Casaubon's jealousy and possessiveness further alienate her, especially when his cousin, Will Ladislaw, arrives in Middlemarch. Will Ladislaw is everything Casaubon is not: vibrant, passionate, and genuinely interested in Dorothea's thoughts and dreams. An artist and idealist, he quickly forms a deep bond with her. Despite her growing feelings for Will, Dorothea remains loyal to her husband, struggling with the constraints of her marriage and the expectations placed upon her as Casaubon's wife. Casaubon, sensing the connection between his wife and Ladislaw, becomes increasingly paranoid and attempts to control Dorothea even after his death by adding a codicil to his will. This codicil stipulates that Dorothea will be disinherited if she marries Ladislaw, a vindictive act that speaks volumes about his character. Meanwhile, Tertius Lydgate, a young and ambitious doctor, arrives in Middlemarch with dreams of revolutionizing medical practice. He is committed to science and the idea of improving the lives of others through modern medicine. However, his idealism blinds him to the realities of the world he has entered, especially when he meets Rosamond Vincy, a beautiful but shallow woman. Despite his initial resolve to remain independent and focused on his work, Lydgate is ensnared by Rosamond's charm and beauty, eventually marrying her. Rosamond, however, is not the supportive partner Lydgate needs. She is more concerned with social status and material comforts than with her husband's ambitions. Their marriage quickly becomes fraught with tension as Lydgate's financial struggles grow, exacerbated by Rosamond's refusal to economize. Lydgate's idealism is further crushed when he becomes entangled with Nicholas Bulstrode, a wealthy banker whose morally questionable past comes to light. The scandal surrounding Bulstrode taints Lydgate's reputation, and he finds himself ostracized by the community. Fred Vincy, Rosamond's brother, is a charming but irresponsible young man who is in love with Mary Garth, a sensible and morally upright woman. Fred's recklessness and accumulation of debts cause strife, especially since Mary insists that she will only marry him if he reforms. Despite his carefree nature, Fred genuinely cares for Mary and strives to improve himself to earn her love. His journey is one of redemption, as he learns to take responsibility for his actions and ultimately wins Mary's respect and affection. The political scene in Middlemarch adds another layer of complexity. Mr. Brooke, Dorothea's uncle, decides to run for Parliament, bringing to the forefront issues of reform and progress. Will Ladislaw becomes involved in these political activities, which only deepens his connection with Dorothea. Despite the barriers placed by Casaubon's will and the expectations of society, Dorothea and Will find themselves drawn to each other. They struggle with their growing affection, conscious of the scandal it could cause and the moral implications of defying Casaubon's final wishes. Casaubon's sudden death provides Dorothea with an unexpected freedom, but it comes with the burden of his will's stipulations. Despite this, Dorothea and Will's love continues to grow, though they both hesitate to act on it, fearing the consequences. Dorothea's moral integrity and desire for a purposeful life lead her to question the societal norms that dictate her future. She defies expectations, choosing to follow her heart rather than adhere to the limitations imposed by Casaubon and society. In the end, Dorothea makes the courageous decision to marry Will Ladislaw, rejecting the wealth and status she would have retained by remaining single. This choice is a testament to her character, as she seeks personal happiness and the chance to live a life of true significance. Their marriage symbolizes a union based on mutual respect and intellectual companionship, something Dorothea had longed for from the beginning. Tertius Lydgate, however, is not as fortunate. His marriage to Rosamond remains a source of misery. He is unable to fulfill his grand ambitions, instead resigning himself to a life of mediocrity, his once brilliant future tarnished by financial ruin and social ostracism. Rosamond's self-centeredness and lack of understanding continue to be a thorn in his side, leaving him perpetually dissatisfied and longing for the career he might have had. Fred Vincy's story concludes on a more positive note. Through hard work and determination, he proves himself to Mary Garth, earning her love and respect. They build a stable life together, not one of wealth or grandeur, but of mutual affection and moral integrity. Their relationship stands in contrast to the failed marriages of the other characters, demonstrating the possibility of genuine happiness when built on a foundation of equality and understanding. Middlemarch ultimately weaves a rich tapestry of human experience, examining the aspirations, disappointments, and moral complexities of its characters. Through Dorothea's journey and the intersecting lives of those around her, it portrays the enduring struggle between individual desires and societal expectations. That's all for now, but if this book spoke to you, George Eliot has more waiting for you. Find them in the description or on Celsius 233. Remember, while our summaries capture the essence, they can never replace the full experience of reading the book. If this summary intrigued you, consider diving into the complete story, buy the book, and immerse yourself in George Eliot's original work. Bye-bye, take care, have fun.